Welcome back. Chipping away at a truce just days after a temporary trade agreement, China is lashing out at the Trump administration, accusing the United States of undermining talks that have been ongoing and threatening legal consequences for anyone implementing U.S. measures against using Huawei semiconductor chips. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang is also calling U.S. chip controls a failure, as China's tech giant Xiaomi is investing billions of dollars in investing in creating in-house chips. But the Trump administration is standing firm on this. The agenda is clear. America comes first, and many business leaders are in full support of that. Listen to billionaire hedge fund manager Ray Dalio on the importance of American self-sufficiency.
These imbalances are not sustainable. They're not sustainable not only because of the debt issue and the trade issue to make it more competitive, but you also have a situation of security. I mean, how can you be dependent on imports from China? We've come to a world now in which there must be much more self-sufficiency.
And I think security is a really important aspect, especially when you're talking about chips. So, Batya, I want to come to you first on this because everybody is up in arms in this as the Trump administration is trying to negotiate with China. But when you think about how we started doing business with them and how it's developed over time, and you think about Scott Bessent talking about the fact that you can't completely decouple, but you can strategically decouple. Chips may be an area, and for example, in AI, these chips are all new. It's not like McDonald's, where we've been having franchises there for years and years, and you've got Chinese consumers, and that's like baked into the cake so far over time. This is all new stuff. So to a certain degree, you wonder, should we be implementing new policy as we move forward to not get further in bed with China, but to be able to curb things? And when it comes to security and chips and national security, I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not really sure which side of this I particularly am on, but I've been thinking about it with respect to what Bessent was saying. And how do you get away from China? Maybe you never can do it fully, but you've got to try in some way.
I think what President Trump taught the world over the last 6 weeks is that nobody can live without the all-powerful American consumer. And what that means is that we have all the cards. Look at how different the reception to this news is going to be to what it would have been and what it was just 6 weeks ago. President Trump has rewritten the script on trade, where he has made it clear both to China and to our partners who he is making trade deals with that he is willing to cut China out if it means putting America first. We are in a different world than we were in before Liberation Day. And I think we're only going to understand the impact of what the president did 30 years down the line. But you know what? You know how in a relationship, like the person who's angrier is the person who's losing? That's what we're seeing here.
No,
the Chinese are angry.
Yes, they're losing.
We're winning.
Okay, so let's build on that for a second, Brian, because you think about chips. What would be the most sort of horrible scenario or the worst case scenario of a situation where we do our innovation and make our own chips here for our consumption and allies and whatever, and China does their own R&D and hopefully doesn't steal our intellectual property, and they make their own chips, which I'm guessing would be, at least in the beginning of the process, inferior to ours.
Well,
now, NVIDIA is not going to like that because that's going to cut a segment of the market out for them. But at the same time, you start to put these boundaries in place.
Yeah, I look, China is NVIDIA's argument is if we don't sell them our chips, they're going to make their own and they're going to take a bigger share, and it's not going to be U.S. stuff running the world. It's going to be China stuff running the world. I think that's their argument.
Yeah, that's fair.
My only pushback to that is China's going to do that anyway.
Right.
They're going to make they're already making their own chips. By some measures, some people think the chips that they're making are at least on par with what we're making or very close. So you're never going to avoid this race. I think to me, the question is, how do you make sure the U.S. can stay ahead in the race? And part of that is just investing in this in the U.S., making investment in this great in the U.S. The other part is having great trading relationships around the globe so that where we don't have adversaries, our stuff is the stuff running the equipment. I agree with that. But with China, why do we want to send them our best stuff so they can reverse engineer it and get ahead of us faster? And why do we want to have U.S. companies buying Huawei stuff, which, by the way, What's the national security risk of that? Can anyone tell me that? I don't know. I'm not a national security guy.
Why we're not buying Huawei?
Yeah, I mean, but I know, but I believe there's a huge national security risk. So all that being said, it's going to be a strategic race. And I think we may as well put controls in place to keep the best stuff we have out of their hands, and we should run as fast as we can.
And Brian, if I could just add briefly to that,
Yep.
This is why reshoring manufacturing is so important, because the best R&D happens close to the manufacturing floor. That is where the designers understand how to make a better product. And what we did was we decoupled design from manufacturing. And so the people who do the designs were not in touch with the working class people making the product. They didn't understand what was needed. We will always win in America when we have that connection between production and design.
Yeah, Taylor, when NVIDIA says that U.S. export controls on AI chips to China were a failure, to me, I sort of sit back and say, you're talking your own book a little bit. You're not looking at the big picture.
Totally fair. Like you said, he doesn't want to be cut off from China, which is a big segment of his market. To push back on Brian a little bit, though, we're not sending them our best chips. We're sending them the NVIDIA H20 chips, which are multiple generations behind. Yes, they break them apart. They're very well known for intellectual property theft.
Right.
They will reverse engineer that. But I would rather them have an H20 chip than nothing, and they have billions of dollars from the CCP that they can then give to Huawei to figure it out. And at least it lets our companies start to get entrenched there and then start exporting that to the rest of the world. China is complicated. I love what we're doing in the Middle East, where we were basically putting China on notice. Watch out, you're not the only AI player in town. Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi, these are people who want a real stake in the AI race. It's been complicated in terms of our foreign relations with them, but I want them to be running on AI American technology, not Huawei technology.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Jerry, what do you think? Because Brian talks about the risk of, for example, bringing Huawei chips here. It could be anything from benign to nothing happens when you use those chips, or it could be as severe as, those chips are able to somehow monitor what we're doing.
Yeah, I think they're absolutely a risk. I think Brian's right in this case. But one of the things I'm concerned about is it seems to me that China is trying to blow up these negotiations. And who's surprised here? I certainly am not. We've watched this country, and by that I mean China, steal our intellectual property for decades. When I was in business school years ago, professors would explain to me that that's precisely what they were doing back then.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's a well-known phenomenon. This is not nonsense from the right. It's absolutely true. And yeah, I think it's absolutely true that NVIDIA is talking its book here.